And then we really wanted an offline location that could represent what we do, right? Because you sell coffee to a lot of people around the world, but in the end of the day, they're all going to brew it a little bit differently, right? So we wanted a place where people can really come home to April and experience us.
Hello， 各位朋友，大家好，欢迎来到维提咖啡的频道。今天我们很开心有机会能够特别专访到位于哥本哈根的 April Coffee Roaster 创办人 Patrick， 我们很高兴能够专访到他。Hello Patrick。Hey,
thank you for having me. Super happy to be here.
It's our pleasure. Say hello to Taiwanese audience and briefly introduce yourself, if you will.
Hi everyone, I'm super happy to be back here in Taipei. My name is Patrick Rolf. I'm a multiple World Barista finalist, World Brewers Cup finalist, and I'm the owner and founder of April Coffee, which is based in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so if the audience doesn't know your story, could you please briefly introduce your story, how it started, how your passion began?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a long story, but the short version I would say is that I did my first barista competition before I even started working with coffee. So I did it for fun, and then I did the competition.
And when is that? Sorry,
that was back home in Sweden.
Okay.
So I'm from Sweden originally, right? And I was a local at this coffee shop, and I was hearing that you could actually compete in making espressos.
Okay.
And then I was working with other stuff, right?
Okay.
So it was in finance, and I thought it was so interesting to be able to compete in coffee. So I actually signed up for the competition. Oh. So I practiced for a month, and I competed, and I thought it was so interesting that the owner of that company then later offered me a job, pretty much. So then I kind of stopped my job in finance to become a barista.
Okay.
So that's how it started, and then I've been around the world working in different roasteries for different companies, always competing to some capacity because I think it's a lot of fun. You learn a lot, meet a lot of people. You get to come to Taipei.
Yeah.
And then in 2017, I decided I need to start my own company.
Okay.
Because I was pushing for quality in coffee. It's always something I've been very interested in, and there was a lot of things I wanted to do that was difficult to do in other companies. So I moved to Copenhagen, a city that is very famous for design, for food and beverage, for the highest quality of a lot of things in the world.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be surrounded by companies that inspired me to kind of push forward.
Okay.
And then I launched April in 2017, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. As a coffee shop or as a coffee roaster?
As a roastery, yeah.
Wow.
So we were a roastery for almost 3 years.
Okay.
And then we really wanted an offline location that could represent what we do, right?
Okay.
Because you sell coffee to a lot of people around the world, but in the end of the day, they're all going to brew it a little bit differently, right? So we wanted a place where people can really come home to April and experience us. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I just realized that you just extend your shop to Asia, in Korea.
Exactly.
Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so about a year ago now, actually, we actually had the first anniversary last week in Seoul, and we basically wanted to see, what can we do somewhere else in the world. Part of our team members in Copenhagen are also Korean, and he basically wanted to move back home to Korea. And I felt the opportunity, but let's try to explore and see if there's something we can do.
Yeah.
Because as a company, we have so much respect for the Asian coffee culture, because I think that is really growing forward, right? It's really happening.
Yeah.
It's a bit more innovative than in Europe, I think, and they're really interested, right? So I wanted to kind of be a part of that community. Right. So that's how we ended up in Seoul in the first place, yeah.
Okay. And are you planning to explain to other Asian countries like Taiwan, for example?
I mean, we would love to. We love Taiwan. We love Taiwan and Taipei, and I've personally been around all of Taiwan many times before. And I think the coffee scene here is really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's quality focused, right? And I think maybe more so than other Asian countries. Here, I think people are really, they have an understanding for it. There's a lot of professionals in Taipei that is really, winning world championships, really pushing the boundaries, I think. So that would be really, really interesting, right? But step by step, we're a small little company, quality first. We're not here to be the next Starbucks. It's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So we'll take it step by step.
Yeah, for sure. I always noticed that it's very interesting that you design your own coffee filter. Why?
So for us, it was a very natural process. And as a lot of things we do, it starts with competitions. So I was trying to win the World Brewers Cup.
Yeah.
That was really the first thing. So
Yeah.
the idea was not to start selling a brewer or kind of make that widely available. The idea was just to try to make the best tasting cup of coffee possible, right?
Right.
And as we talked about before as well, how you roast a coffee is going to dictate and decide how you should be brewing it.
Okay.
Because let's say a light roast versus a dark roast or medium roast have different properties.
Right.
And I found that the market was lacking on a brewer that was suitable to deal with this lighter roast style of coffee. So for me, it was really about looking at everything, which I always do. I look at coffee as a system.
Yeah.
So you have green coffee, you have roasting, you have brewing, right? And there's no perfect individual version. It's only a perfect combination of the three, right? And I was lacking the brewer aspect of it, right? So that's really how it came. And then I competed in the World Brewers Cup. We came second place, highest cup score. So then we felt, okay, but then let's launch it, because I think we've proven that it can make tasty coffee, right?
Yeah. Okay. Despite of different shapes and design, everything, can you share with us what kind of material do you think is the best for the filter?
Sure. So there's a lot. Every material has slightly different properties. They also have slightly different shape. Just because producing them, it just requires a slightly different approach to it. So if you take plastic, for example, it has great thermal qualities, but it's also shape-wise the perfect version of it. Because when you produce a plastic brewer, it's a mold concept. So you can make every millimeter exactly the way that you want to.
Yeah.
When you do ceramic, for example, then you have to adapt to the process of making ceramic.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be identical, right?
Yeah.
Glass, for example, the one we have is handmade.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate that, because we're really interested in quality manufacturing, same as Lamasoccer, right?
Yeah.
But that's also some inconsistencies every once in a while, because it is handmade. So I would go to glass. We have a wood version coming, which I mentioned also. That's an exciting one. It's also quite a pricey one. But if you want to really discuss thermal qualities in materials, then wood would be the best, actually.
Wow.
But plastic is very versatile, doesn't break.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Easy to bring with you if you want to go anywhere. Whenever I go to farms in origin countries, I'll bring the plastic brewer.
Yeah.
So I think that's my go-to today.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay. My last question is that I know you've been competing for a long time. I saw your competition. Everything is pretty awesome.
Thank you.
For those coffee brands in Taiwan, do you recommend them to do competition? How does it? What's the pros and cons, to the development of the brand or the shop?
Yeah. I don't think there's absolutely nothing negative with competing. I tell everyone to compete. Competing is first about learning. It's about building community. It's about creating network. It's about investing time. And I do it a lot now because I run a business.
Right.
When you run a business, you have a lot of other things to deal with.
Yeah.
It's not all, brewing coffee.
Yeah.
So competing for me is a great opportunity to just focus in on coffee.
Yeah.
So I force myself, because I know I'm going to be on that world stage. I don't want to make a fool out of myself. So I have to make time to practice. So I would not be sitting here today if it wasn't for the competitions. I think that the work that SCA is doing, especially Barista Brewers Cup, I think they're fantastic. And from my own perspective, I don't see me working in coffee and not competing.
Okay.
And if I can make time, you can make time.
Okay.
I think that's everyone should do it, because it's also just meeting people, right?
Yeah.
You give back to the local community. You show people that I care about coffee.
Yeah.
Winning or losing doesn't matter. If you do the work properly, you win, and that's nice. But in the end of the day, I've lost a few, I've won a few, and I think I still get so much value out of it, regardless of the outcome of the competition.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, and maybe the most important thing is about representing the producer, right? It's your opportunity to take a coffee from a producer and share that with the rest of the world, right?
Wow.
And I think that's a lot of value.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Patrick.
Thank you.
And it's our honor and pleasure to have interview with Patrick. He's a leading brand and also the leading professional in the world. I think we have a lot to learn from you, and hopefully you can extend your shop someday in Taiwan.
For sure,
Okay.
definitely. And then we get some more mud bars, right?
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.
那我们今天最主要邀请Patrick 来，是因为我半年前到哥本哈根 3 Days of Design， 那就是一个家具，整个城市都是家具展。然后 Patrick 刚好在 House of Few 的 showroom 里面serving coffee， 那我们就聊得很愉快。我一直知道 April Coffee， 然后我知道它的 quality 是 top of the world， 所以我一直希望可以在台湾办一场最好的家具跟最好的咖啡的